In this chapter, from the bottom, students will use robot movement, variables, and loops as a culminating activity. Within the storyline of this chapter, students will be given a challenge to create a flowchart and write code in less than 25 lines. This is a culminating lesson to assess students' knowledge of previously learned topics. Our group of programming friends devise a scheme to get Carmel demoted to baritone and return Nero to soprania so they can activate the hatch switches within 30 minutes of each other, gaining access to the surface to find Sydney's parents. However, things do not go exactly as planned, and their assignments get switched. They work together to redesign their plan and prepare their robots for the missions. After calculating wheel rotations, creating a flowchart, and coding, Nero's robot in baritone and Sydney's robot in altos activate their respective switches. All that remains is Carmel's mission in soprania. Meanwhile, the world of baritone is being flooded by a crack in the ceiling caused by the switch activation. Or perhaps a tremor. To monitor your students' performance on the in-game assessments, log into the web-based teacher console. In this chapter, students will create a flowchart and code to navigate the robot safely through the tunnel in order to activate the switch. They are challenged to write their code in 25 lines or less so that they use at least one loop. Once students submit their flowchart and code, they will appear in the gradebook for you to review and assign a grade. Please note that the grade is not reported to the student within the game, and you will need to let them know the grade that they have earned. Use this opportunity to supplement classroom learning or address individual challenges that your students might be having. As always, students will be able to access their Communiplanner when needed. They may want to visit the notes in the Communiplanner to refresh mathematical calculations for distance and review terms such as loops and variable as they proceed through the chapter. As an added resource to you, the teacher, all of this information, along with teaching tips and additional guidance, can be found in the teacher lesson plan. Many teachers allow the students to play the game straight through. However, if you would like to have an instructional session between chapters, you can follow the lesson plans. Each lesson plan provides an introductory and concluding activity and an extension. You will find vocabulary terms, answer keys for the assessments, and an alignment of the learning objectives to national education standards. These are optional, and you can decide what is best for your class.
Today, we are going to be doing Part 2, Chapter 4 of Code of Aegis. Okay, now the big question for today is, do we remember our while loop lesson from last time?
Yes.
Excellent, because you're going to need it. Using while loops in order to do repetitive parts of the track. Now, why we do this is because it makes our code shorter. One of the good things about this chapter is that it does challenge the students directly. There's a character in the context of the story that says that the main character, the student, is going to be able to produce a program that does a specific thing, and you have that objective and you can't pass without it. Now, the information that you're going to be getting from the program may be a little different than you're used to, so don't forget the equations that we learned previously. Circumference is equal to diameter times pi. Time is equal to distance divided by rate. And time times rate is equal to the distance. Those are things that you're going to need to know because they're going to throw you some curveballs, okay? They may not give you the information in this format. In order to achieve this, the students are going to have to learn to program efficiently, which I think plays into the idea that this is a pretty big challenge for them, but it's not unattainable.
Check out the website to see how other teachers are using Code of Aegis to engage with their students. And be sure to share your classroom experiences too.